Hi, welcome back to my workshop. As we've seen in the past, I've made my own DOS PC with kits that I found online. So let's celebrate Doscember by having a look at what I've done since I made this. I've added a few more boards, I've changed the power supply, I found a few little demos, and we'll have a look at some of the older games that I found that will work and some that don't. So join me in celebrating Doscember, and let's have a look at what I've been doing on my 8088 XT PC. This would have been how you saw it the last time. We have the processor, we have the IDE, and we have the graphics card. I also had the AdLib card on the whiteboard, which was a horrible board to make. Since then, I've added a Pico power supply. One of my things is that I was thinking of doing a 3D printed case, making it as compact as possible. So that was that. But then I've also seen a few boards that will take the input from the Pico power supply, plug straight in, and then you have a soft ATX switch, so you can use a modern case that has a momentary switch rather than the toggle switch like on this one that goes on the power supply. That also does the -5 volt conversion. So I've done a bit of a bodge on here, and I have a -5 volt regulator that comes off the -12 volt. New power supplies don't have -5 volt, and some of the older boards need it. So the circuit that I found does the -5 volt and the soft ATX switch. So I have it laid out on a breadboard, and I also brought some of the connectors. And this works. I just need to make it a bit more permanent. But that's a project for another day. So on top of the power supply work, we can see that there is a floppy drive. And I also mentioned this on the last videos, that I was going to be adding a floppy drive controller. And this is another one of Sergey's boards. This one can do floppy and serial. But you don't have to make the whole thing up. So this one just has the floppy controller, and it was fairly easy to put together. So that will just pop in. I didn't need to use the BIOS option that came on the board because the BIOS of the 8088 Micro already supports it. The next card that I made was a creative music system. And again, this is one of Sergey's designs. I couldn't get the right volume control, so this one's a little bit clunky. And I haven't made the edge to secure it yet. And this one works okay as well. And the last card that I got was this Aztek card. And this is a Sound Blaster compatible, but it's an 8-bit Sound Blaster compatible. And the only part that's used on the 16-bit is the CD-ROM interface. So if you're not using the CD-ROM, this will work with Sound Blaster 1.5 and 2. I might need to fact check that, but it definitely works on this system. And it has a line in and a line and a speaker out. So what I've been doing is I've been looping the creative card in via the line in. Let's just connect this up. And then the speakers go into the Sound Blaster. So we've now added the floppy drive, the creative music system, and the Sound Blaster compatible card. Still using the black keyboard. I did find a really nice beige keyboard that will go with the case and the monitor, but it has issues on this where it won't always reset properly. It works fine on my PC, so I've been using it on my PC. And this keyboard works really nice on here as well. So let's just get further back a little bit so that we can see the screen. I'm using a flat screen just because it makes filming that bit easier. But I'll show you the case and the monitor that I've got in a little bit. Okay, so we're plugged in via VGA, going out of the VGA card. Everything else is just the same as before. And I've got these two switches. So there's a reset switch, and this one is for the ATX power. So I've got all of the software set up. I found the Aztek drivers. and creative drivers. So it loads the CMS driver and also the Aztek, and the Aztek has a volume control as well. So I have the creative card and the Aztek card installed, but they're giving a couple of issues where the drivers are conflicting. So let's just look at a demo of the CMS card, and then we'll take that out, and then we'll look at what the Aztek card can do. So there we go. Wasn't that amazing? Let's remove that card and pop the drivers out, and then have a look at the Aztek card. Okay, so I've just remmed out the driver. Let's just remove the creative card. So none of the horrible noise now as well. So the Aztek installs a utility, and there's a program that we can use to set up, make sure the card's working okay. And it reads the card, it reads the memory from the card. We can do some testing. So that was FM, but the Sound Blaster voice test doesn't work. So I'm not sure if you can't find the sounds. And then there is the speech synthesizers.
Sound Galaxy brings you into a realm of fantastic sounds.
So that's the speech thing.
Computing will never sound the same.
And that's the sound source. If we have a look, there are some tracker files. So if we run song, it runs like a TSO in the background. Alt dot. I don't know if any of these are going to trigger anything. I think green sleeve is okay. That's enough of that. So as we saw in the demo, I wasn't quite sure that Sound Blaster stuff was working properly. But when I went to Prince of Persia, and we run setup, I looked through, and sound device, Sound Blaster, music synthesizer, Sound Blaster. So as you can hear, the sample sounds from the Sound Blaster are actually working. So it must be something to do with that it can't find those sounds in the demo program, but because it's contained within Prince of Persia, it's working okay. So I've been looking at other programs. And I brought King's Quest. And as we can hear, we've got sound. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen King's Quest before. But this is the VGA version, which is running on this 10 MHz PCXT. Starts to slow down when there's more than one thing moving on the screen at once. But anyway, that's enough of that. I've got some other things I wanted to show. So a lot of the games that I was looking at must have been before the time of the Sound Blaster and the AdLib cards. Quite a few of them are a version of arcade and Amiga games, and they all look like they're CGA, and they don't have any sound. They don't have any music apart from PC speaker. So you must have all seen Xenon on the Atari and the Amiga. So we can do EGA, 2 colours. So this doesn't actually look too bad. I'll try and find some footage and compare the two. You see the scrolling is not too bad. And we get the PC speaker voice. I find it interesting that they still use QA, OP and space. So yeah, that's Xenon.
Sector 1.
So this one again can run CGA, EGA or Tandy. So F2 for keyboard. And we can do EGA 256K. I just ran the demo game. And you can hear they've done some chip tunes. So these two are not too bad. It's a shame that they don't support the sound cards. So let's have a look at something a bit different. Double Dragon. So we can do EGA 16 colours. And again, we've just got PC speaker sounds. And really not the best graphics that you've ever seen. So anyway, that's enough of that. I was really lucky to find the Aztek Sound Blaster compatible card. I'm still trying to find an actual Sound Blaster, but they still sell for silly money. There is another kit that I could get, which is a Sound Blaster copy, not the Creative Music System. But I think this Aztek card will do everything that I want to do. So like I said, also we've got the floppy drive, which is working. That was relatively easy to get to build the kit. Very little fuss at all, and it's working with the floppy drive. I got one of those cheap from eBay. And then let's have a look quickly at the case and the actual CRT monitor that I've got, which hopefully one day this will all go in and it will look like a proper computer. So this is the case and the monitor that eventually I want to use with the XT. This is a micro ATX, so unfortunately nothing lines up inside and it doesn't have the right power switch. So that is one of the reasons why I'm working on the soft ATX converter. I'll also have to do some work in the back to get the cards to line up. So if we look on the back, we can see that it's a normal micro ATX layout. So not all of the XT cards will have access to the back. Mainboard, the keyboard, the VGA and the sound cards can go in the bottom slots. Anything else can go in the top. All I need to do is make some kind of internal support for them to go in and then block that section off. But it's a new case and they're relatively cheap. I think only about £20. And it just looks nice. And then I was donated 2 monitors, and one of them is this small VGA, and it works, just needs a good clean. I'm sure you'll agree that these two together would just make a really nice looking retro system. It's not entirely true for an XT style, but it's small and compact and they just look nice together. So this needs a bit of a clean and I've got some work to do to get that ready for the XT board. The other option is that I buy a new backplane, the one that the Micro 8088 is intended for, which has all of the soft ATX stuff and it's laid out for micro ATX as well. So maybe that if I don't have much success getting these parts working that I want to do, I could look at getting those. but it does mean I've got to make the whole back plane, I've got to get all of the edge connectors. I'm not sure if I could take them off the old one. So it depends what costs the least at the end of the day, I guess. So there we go, that's just my quick update on what I've been doing with the Micro 8088 system, with the boards and the monitor and the case. Thank you for looking at this quickly thrown together video for Doscember. As I'm working on these things, I'll make some new videos, possibly going to be making my own circuit board to try to get the soft ATX working, and then we'll do some 3D printing. My other option is to make a completely 3D printed case, and I was looking at making it look like an old IBM, but there's quite a lot of work involved in that, so that will be a slow burner. But like I say, thank you for looking at this really quick video. Happy Doscember, and I wish you all the best for 2021. See you again. Bye.